I need 1 second so I can set this up. I was watching a video from Drag earlier today, and basically he was commenting on a post from Tommy Hall, and I had it up here. I don't know what happened. All right, my computer's acting funny, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I guess Tommy had some comments to make regarding the Dumb Afro of the Year. And the interesting thing about it is that a lot of what he was saying was a lot of what I've been talking about and other people in the community have been talking about for a while. And it's just really, you know, this childish, immature behavior that we all tend to deal with and notice. And as I was watching Drag Knox respond to him, I was sort of getting the impression like Drag Knox was aware of what Tommy was talking about, but he sort of wanted to make excuses for his actions. Like he was trying to justify why it was okay for them to make fun of Tommy or to make fun of them, and it was just ridiculous. You know, if the guy is telling you that he doesn't want to be involved in their games, or if he's throwing hints that may lead you to believe that what you're doing or saying is bothering him, then I think that you should be an adult and just leave the guy alone. You know, I went out of my way, for example, with Sam a while ago. Sam had sent me a private message asking me to keep me out of his mouth and out of my videos whenever, you know, I'm engaging here online, because he doesn't want to be involved in any of this. And I told him, okay, I would do that. But then I ended up, well, I told him, look, I leave you alone and I'll stop talking about you if you know, are going to do the same thing. And if you start talking about me in rooms or you start mentioning me, I'm going to defend myself. I even went as far as to actually remove all of the older videos that I had up about him or private to them. And then he started talking about me again and carrying on with drama afterwards, so I started bringing him up again. So when somebody comes to me and they ask me, you know, leave me alone, just don't bring me up in any of this, I try to be respectful and I try to honor their wishes. Actually, just a little bit ago, a few months back, I sent the video out to the people in the community. Telling them, look, if you guys are bothered by any of the videos that I've uploaded about you, you let me know. Come over to me, you be like a man, and you tell me, you know, this is bothering you, and I'll leave you alone. So anyways, I mean, I think that the video that was uploaded by Dragnox, he was just trying to take advantage of it. You know, he wanted something to talk about on his channel, and I don't think he was really even concerned with Tommy Hall's emotions. And you know, he went about trying to justify why he believed what he was doing is okay, and why you know, why basically in a nutshell Tommy deserves it. twisting history and so on. I mean, he brought up the situation with myself and him over that fight situation, and interestingly enough, he rewrites history with that as well. What he neglects to mention is that regarding all of this, I put up a video that was actually very similar to Tommy's post, this unnecessary aggression that a lot of people in this community partake in. And in the real world, it wouldn't go down like this. You know, people wouldn't. You talk to people like you talk to them here online. You treat them like you treat them here online. In the real world, there will be consequences for those actions. That's the reason why a lot of people in this community, they act this way, because, you know, what is anybody gonna do to somebody 1,000 miles away, you know, in their basement somewhere? So he forgets to mention that the entire reason how that all got brought up was because of that video. Dragnot actually initiated it by saying, you know what, he punched me in the throat. And it was me who said, dude, I used to box, and we could have a friendly boxing match if you want to have a friendly boxing match. I mean, to me, it was like a sporting thing, you know, a football thing. And then he started saying he would paralyze me and cripple me. All the videos are still there on my channel. And you can look at the comments, and I think even MP was pointing out some of the stupid remarks he was saying. So, as I recall on how he's rewriting history with me, all of these excuses that he's saying justifies himself to, or you know, the other guys in their community to mistreat Tommy Hall. More than likely, he's rewriting history with them as well. So I find it funny. I find this all very funny due to the fact that what it really is it's like we're dealing with a community of bullies. And, you know, they've gotten so used to pushing people and, you know, slapping people around and degrading people. Nobody really stands up to them. But if somebody stands up to them, they remember why the person stood up to them, or that the person stood up to them, but not the reason why that person stood up to them. They remember what they want to remember. And it's something that I wish Christians would be a little bit more united in. I mean, when they act like they do here online, they are violating YouTube terms of services, and literally at the tips of, you know, our fingers, we could actually do something about that. We could flag their channels and have that content removed. But, you know, I've been talking to some of these Christians, you know, behind the scene, and they're like, well, you know what, then we're going to have our channels removed because then there's going to be a flag war. That's what people are concerned with. But being realistic here, look, the community is not going to change until something big happens here online to let them understand they can't behave how they're behaving. Something big has got to happen here to let them understand there's going to be consequences for their actions. And I think the only way that that's going to end up happening is if people in our side of the community start taking advantage of YouTube terms of services and flagging that content. I mean, just go look underneath every single video that's on YouTube. Go to the little flagging icon. There's a whole section of violations that they are partaking in on their side of the community. All of their content could be removed from the internet. They could be removed from the internet by their behavior. But nobody wants to take advantage of that, and unfortunately, they're just going to continue acting like how they're acting. It would be nice if this community were a little bit more respectful and polite, to where, you know what, it was really just about the argument. But, you know, usually everything goes downhill because of things that they initiate, because of things that they provoke and get going. But he mentions me again, actually, and they're about when I made remarks about him being bisexual. Now, honestly, I didn't think he was going to take it too offensively. And then afterwards, I did sort of was trying to use it to get on his nerves a little bit. But he forgets as well, conveniently, while he's responding to Tommy Hall in his video, that months before that he was saying exactly that to Tommy Hall. They were all making fun of Tommy Hall, trying to claim that the guy was gay. And but that doesn't matter, right? I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, they remember what they want to remember. They care. They don't care about what they're doing to Tommy or any other Christians here online. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is how they're affected. And I just find it interesting, you know. That type of behavior, you know, it's like all the worst characteristics you can find in a person is condensed at that side of the community. I mean, I was listening to you know, what's his name? I don't remember his name. See how relevant these guys are? Sam was in the room. Drag was in the room, and a couple of other guys. I think it was in probably one of JDK's TST. I'm going to pull this up so I can take a look at the comments. So I was listening to them in a room, and they were bragging about, Sam was bragging about how his dad goes to, his dad's friend bought $1 million house or something like that, or a multi-million-dollar house, and I was listening to them carry on, and we all know how sad we get. I mean, I've actually seen people in that side of the community talk about how they're tired of hearing him make those types of remarks. But it's just like this uppity, arrogant attitude to where they have literally even said that they are better than the people in this community. They are better. Yet they exhibit some of the worst behavior characteristics I've ever seen anywhere at all. I mean, I've put out videos already in the past talking about this, but I did not have an easy upbringing. I grew up in probably one of the worst neighborhoods you can find in the city of Chicago. It was bad upbringing. And there were some pretty wild personalities that I grew up around as I came up. And to be honest with you, some of what I see here online from the personality traits, there's really no difference. The only thing that I can see that's different is that if I take one guy from the old neighborhood I grew up in, and I set him next to maybe Drag or Sam or some of these other guys, the only difference really is that one of them's got money, the other one doesn't. One of them speaks proper, the other one doesn't. In reality, they've just got bad character flaws. They really, really do. I don't know how to explain it. You know, it's like, you ever seen that movie Get Hard with Will Ferrell? And when Will Ferrell was speaking, I forget that dude's name, but he automatically assumed he knew everything about jail. So that's the impression that I get off of him. I think of Will Ferrell when I hear these people speak, this delusional, like uppity, clueless type of behavior from these guys. And it's like, you can't do anything about that. There's nothing that anybody here online can do anything about that. That's the reason why I've taken the approach that I've taken towards them. You know, I sit back and like the video that I did the other day on my main channel. They were carrying on with that arrogance that, you know, they think that they're better than everybody attitude. They were laughing at something that I said about a sandwich and a prebiotic soup or a primordial sandwich. And interestingly enough, earlier that day, Dragnox was carrying on about how all this research is out there about abiogenesis, but didn't seem to understand probably one of the most fundamental concepts out there in abiogenesis. and he looked bad. They all ended up looking bad after that video was uploaded, and they got angry over it. They got aggressive over it, and things progressed from there. It just, that's really the only way that they could be approached. The only thing that you could really do is let them talk, let them carry on with their behavior, and then eventually that arrogance is gonna catch up with them. And it's sad. It's like we've got to figure out a way how to work with them within the community. We got to figure out a way. Okay, they're not going to leave, obviously, and they know just as well as we do that the majority of the people in the community don't really care who's right or wrong. I mean, we're wrong. It's just being here on the internet, before we say anything, we're automatically wrong. So they understand that. They've got the backing of their own community, and there's a lot more of them than there are of us. So they're here to stay. They're not going to go anywhere. So the only thing that we can really do is let them talk, let them carry on, and then let them shoot themselves in the foot, because they'll make themselves look bad. In reality, you know, there's no debating here. There's no engagement here. There's no, you know, nothing to be learned here from any of them, because they're not interested in really having a discussion. They're here to try to, you know, they really just want to hear the sound of their own voice, and they want to be looked at as intellectuals. So because of that arrogance, that ego, there's nothing that we can do about it. That's why you see this dumb actor of the year here online. That's why you see, you know, TST. You see all of these outlets that are being utilized for them to express their anger or frustration with people in the community that have either made them look bad or say things that they don't want to hear. Because let's just be real here. That's the purpose that these little channels serve for. I don't know what's going on with this computer, but still won't load my internet. Says, you're not discussing anything with these people, true? You don't have open, honest hangouts. I mean, yes, I do. I have honest hangouts all the time. Look at the discussion I had with Dave S. It was a very respectful discussion. As rude as Dragy's been with me, look at the discussion I had with him on my channel. It was a very respectful discussion. I didn't mistreat him in any way. A lot of people I talk to here on my, look at the discussion I had with, I forget his name, King Crocoduck. That was a very respectful, very polite discussion. A lot of people I talk to in my rooms, I mean, my discussions are actually discussions. The discussions that these people have, they're not even really discussions. It's 9 people trying to criticize and belittle the person who says something that they don't want to hear, or trying to bully somebody who might not be an expert on the field but just want to have a discussion. That's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, just be real here. When you watch Steve's channel, is that or is that not what's going on here? I mean, it's a room full of people talking to one dude or two guys, and usually when they get somebody in there that's got an education in some area, or, you know, is maybe well known. Like I know that Steve had, I forget those guys' names because I don't follow them ever. Dr. Rana and Hugh Ross, I believe that's what his name is. You can tell that they were very passive. They weren't trying to dig into these people like they tried to dig into somebody here in our community who doesn't have a full grasp on certain topics that might just be a layman. And that's because they know better. Now, let's just face it, they know better. Look, if they could have, they know that if they're going to have trouble with me, a layman here on YouTube that might have a little bit of, you know, education, but for the most part is self-taught, then obviously they don't want to try to go toe-to-toe with somebody who's got a PhD in biochemistry or astrophysics or something like that, you know? So they know better. Yeah, this connection is just, it's not working right. I might have to switch my desktop in my other room. So, I mean, the stuff that I'm talking about here is not to try to stir up drama, man, but I was just a little annoyed when I watched that video because Dragnot, he's trying to, you know, give us this demeanor like he, you know what, he's with Tommy, you know, his heart goes out to Tommy, but he's, as he's saying that, he's trying to come up with all these reasons why, you know, Tommy deserves it. I mean, even with I forget his name, Steve, he, a while back, I tried to put up a video, actually, when I found out that he was going through some financial situations to try to get people to donate his way. And then when he told me, you know, it bothered him, he was embarrassed by it, he didn't like it, I removed the video without any question. I didn't debate about it, I didn't, you know, do anything like that. I left it alone. And you know, that's what you do if your heart really goes out to somebody. I mean, even Tommy, Antonio, and other people in the community who have been in private rooms with me with other people, they will vouch for me that I've actually gone about, despite the history I have with Steve and some of these other people in the community, I've actually vouched for them and said, look, just back up off them, leave them alone. Even though he's, you know, he can be a bit of a douchebag, he's going through something, so you should leave him alone. And you don't talk about it, you leave it alone. But I don't know. I hope, you know, people in this community understand when you see this dumb F of the year going on, and you see all this other crap going on in their community, it doesn't serve any purpose. It means nothing. I mean, in their eyes, they think it's like the Grammy Awards or something, or like, you know, like the Emmy Awards. Go lay down, dog. Go. Hot. Your breath is hot. Go, go, go. Okay. So, yeah. I don't know. I hope that they leave him alone. I hope they back up off of him. He lets you guys know that he doesn't like it, even if he's not directly referring to himself. Maybe he's referring to somebody in this community that you're not aware of. I don't know. But if he wants you to back up off of it, then leave it alone. I mean, what purpose does it serve to just try to make fun of somebody and smear them all over the internet? What does it do for anybody? Nothing at all. Nothing. Maybe what the goal here is to keep things the way you guys want it, where you guys are the dominant voice here online, and anybody new that might pop up or anybody that might have a following will slowly leave the internet, and it won't be a problem to you anymore. It'll be just one less voice speaking. When I first got here on YouTube, a lady talked to me, and she told me, you know what, I'm glad you're putting up videos, and I'm thankful for your videos. She said, I would be afraid to put up YouTube videos because I wouldn't want to be attacked, especially, you know, putting my face out there on camera. And you know, at the time I didn't really get what she meant by that, you know, getting afraid of being attacked. And now, you know, now I understand it, being here online and being involved. It happens to everybody that gets involved in this community. And that probably is. That's probably the reason why they do that. They do that to try to censor people. Somebody actually in J.D. Kane's, not in his live feed, but there's a comment on one of J.D. Kane's videos where somebody said, you know what, making fun of people is not really nice, but you know what, it does help to fight against these members of the CCP or something like that. it's not an exact quote of what was said, but that's pretty much the gist of what he was trying to say. And I think that they know what they're doing, and I hope that Tommy Hall understands, and the other people in this community understand that we see things for what they really are. We understand that it's a ceremony, whatever, that's only for trolling and for bashing and attacking. We know the reputation of this community. They do bend the truth. They do exaggerate. They lie. And they are only trying to belittle people who they don't agree with. People in their own community can see some of the stuff that we point out as well. Everybody knows how Steve McRae is. You know, even Drag pointed it out in one of his videos, interestingly enough, what we pointed out. He seemed to think that, well, how did he put it? He was like, well, I find it funny that members of the CCP, like, you know, True and G-Man, want to start talking about Steve. We already have. Like, who cares? I mean, it doesn't matter whether you guys are aware of the problem too. Just because you guys are aware of the problem, that of, you know, how Steve acts, doesn't mean that we're supposed to stay silent about it. If you know how Steve is and how dishonest he can be, or how, you know, how unreasonable he can be to talk to, then do something about it. Go talk to the guy and try to straighten him out, you know? Call him out. You have no problem calling out G-Man or myself or anybody on our side of the community. Why aren't you making videos about him? I guess it's a tribal thing, right? So I don't know. I don't know if the video is going to stay up. Honestly, I just got off the treadmill and didn't like what I was hearing from Drag Knox, and you know, seriously, Drag, if you're watching this, just remove that video. I'm gonna probably remove this one, and just leave the guy alone. If your heart really goes out to Tommy Hall, then leave the guy alone. That's it. Leave him alone and talk to your friends and tell them to get him off the list. Okay. I mean, seriously. Like, it is very interesting to me how things tend to be a little different with both of our communities. I've got a history with a lot of these guys, obviously, because for all of their arrogant accusations, I met them in the middle. And they've been embarrassed in the long run, and we all know the reason why, even though you guys like to play stupid about a lot of this stuff. But despite the drama that I've had with Steve and with Sam, with a lot of these other guys in this community, you can ask a lot of these Christians. I've talked to them privately, and I've said, you know what, you should back off of him. Let's be respectful. Let's you know, try to be as courteous as possible. And that's what I've done privately. And these Christians will tell you exactly what I'm telling you now. But I see Drag openly, and I see these other guys doing the complete opposite of that. When they have an opportunity to bash somebody, or to belittle them, or to insult them, or to tear them down emotionally, or whatever they can do, they take advantage of it. And I don't know. Honestly, if there's an atheist watching right now, and you are concerned with Tommy, or you are concerned with what you're seeing going on here in the community, say something about it. Because Drag doesn't listen to me. He doesn't listen to what G-Man has to say. He doesn't listen to what any of us have to say at all. It doesn't matter how real or upfront people are with him. Like, they don't listen to what we say to them. Everything we say goes in one ear and out the other. But if more and more of you guys were to start pointing out this behavior, I think the community would be a lot better. You know, we would probably start to see more. You know, there was a lot of Christians that were starting to come in to the community. What was Peripheral Prophet? There was a lot of them. A lot of them were coming into the community. Arcane used to be a lot more active. Uh, Forget who that one guy's name is. He was an ID proponent as well. He was like, I think his name was Brandon or something. I don't know, I got a G plus community. He's involved in it too, but he he was involved. He was well spoken. There's a lot of them that were involved, and slowly, after you see these people being bashed, they don't show up anymore. And it's like, I hear Dragnock say stuff like, or JDK, well, that's because you guys say stupid stuff. That's why we laugh at you for saying stupid stuff. I mean, come on. I mean, let's just be realistic here. How many stupid things have they said over the year? How many cringe-worthy, idiotic remarks have they made over the year? The only difference between both communities is that we don't bring them up frequently and dedicate entire hangouts bashing them over this. I mean, I might mention them in hangouts from time to time, but it's not like I spend an entire hour, like drooling over some ridiculous points here or there. I mean, consider the points that they try to bring up about me, DNA and water. That's been countered aggressively. The binary, quaternary code, whatever, for the League of Reason. That's been addressed. I actually addressed it in the hangout the other day, I believe. Those are the two things that they tend to bring up frequently. And those go back years. I mean, 2 to 5 years, I think that they go back. And the time frame is actually far in between. But you consider what's been happening just frequently over the years. I mean, this mica sheet situation over the abiogenesis, as they laughed at me right after they were claiming this knowledge that they had about abiogenesis. Look at what they supposedly learned in 8th grade. Sam and Hogtie, over the Down syndrome situation and Robertsonian translocation. You look at again what happened with these same people over. See, there's so many of them. I can't remember all of them. Over the Sahara Desert situation. All these events, they end up having to admit that they're wrong, or they say that they're wrong because of some sort of excuse, It's happened so often over the years. It's not one thing, but look at bragging about who knows the difference between animal cells and plant cells, and didn't understand the relevancy of gerontology or negligible senescence. The list goes on and on and on. It's like not one thing, it's not two things, it's over and over and over again. And so the point being is that just with my own self, going back, last few weeks to last couple of years, there's so many events that we can bring up or what these guys have said, just stupid statements that they've made. And if I go look at the discussions that Antonio had with Skylar, for example, or Fat Slick has had with a lot of these guys, and bring up some of their cringeworthy remarks, it doesn't even come close. The only difference is that they're loudmouths and they carry on with what they think we got wrong about, even though we've explained ourselves 1,000 times, and nothing is exactly how they're trying to paint it to be. So it's just these people can't be reasoned with. The only way that we can deal with these guys is by playing with them how they like to play with us, beating them at their own game. That's it. That's it. That's the only way, because there is no discussion to be had here. There is no listening to what we have to say. It's just a group of people who don't like what we have to say, so let's just face it. That's what this all has to do with. This all has to do with exactly that. They make fun of us. They try to bash us. They come up with these videos, these ceremonies as an attempt to put pressure and getting people to be quiet by trying to embarrass them and bash them and smear them all over the internet. That's exactly what's going on. They may deny it and they may laugh at that, but just interestingly enough, everybody who either makes them look bad or challenges them in some sort of way, they end up on a list where they're being bashed or something. I haven't even been looking at these comments. Alright guys, so I'm going to end this hangout and I'm going to start a new one because I'm having some technical issues with this laptop. If I can get it going, I'll have another hangout started within like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so. Because I really wanted to screen share a video or play a video so that we can listen to it in the background. So probably see you guys in a little bit.